And a good Saturday morning, everyone. Roger Hill of Weathering Heights Consulting, VELCO Weather Hazards Forecaster. Looking at North America, the lower 48 United States, you can see there's quite a bit of snow that's falling at fairly light amounts, however, across the Great Lakes and into the Northeast United States. We're going to get fringe effects basically in our state of Vermont, and we're not expecting much more than about perhaps a half inch, 3/4 of an inch, and a lot of that is going to be less. Current temperatures look like this, where the warmth has now been kind of pushed on down to the far southern areas. We have this big storm system that's off the coast, currently right now off of California. This is spreading in thunderstorms, and the flow is basically one that's going to almost zonal across the country. A little bit of a northern branch with slightly colder air, and you can see that with the temperatures here running below zero, and some pretty healthy cold air again up in the northern areas. And this goes well up into northern Canada, and so there's going to be more bouts of cold air through Canada. It's a fight, though, across the lower 48 United States, especially east of the Rockies. Looking at precipitation types, of course, this is all snow, this is rain, this is the European model on the left. We have the GFS deterministic model on the right-hand side, and their models are in pretty decent agreement. You can see this weather system moving on through it with very light amounts. Kind of begins to exit out of the region. This reaches back about 6 hours total precipitation, so it actually ends probably in the early evening, and then that exits. We have a little bit of a break in the action in the morning hours on Sunday, and then we have round number 2. Round number 2 is going to work same thing. Going to drop a little bit of snow, generally light amounts. I'd say not much more than a half inch, 3/4 of an inch as it looks, and that system is going to linger into the evening. Both of these, by the way, start basically in the afternoon hours and then continue a little bit into the evening before they dissipate out. The third system that we're going to see comes a little bit later in the week. We are going to have a good day of higher pressure and control from Quebec ridging southward, and this is going to bring us our dry weather on Monday. So Monday is a good dry project weather day. However, by late in the day, later in the evening, you're looking at the next round of precipitation with a lot of the jet stream energy really on the southern part of this system, elongated as it is really going to shoot off the coast. So the net effect is we start out with snow as it runs into the colder air and that moisture, and then that area of low pressure tracks off to the south and east. Meanwhile, we have this kind of occluded front kind of business. And note that it's raining here, so warmer temperatures are going to make some inroads. Again, this is valid at about 1 o'clock on Tuesday. So this continues. And we're going to shift this over to the... And what you can see here is we're using the GFS again. This is the 0Z reaching back a little further. So that system then departs on Wednesday. There's another sort of drier period with ridging of higher pressure, but it basically, Wednesday gets crimped by this little system here. And this is something that's going to evolve. Utilities should probably watch. But at this point in time, it looks like a little bit of mixed precipitation, rain, snow, and then this area of low pressure powers up as it heads off into Maine as kind of a Miller B. And then this system is a lower latitude system. This is now beyond the period on Friday. And that system basically goes to our south. But it's worth note that if it does phase with the northern branch of the jet stream, the two could sync up and become a bigger system. And that's what the GFS is kind of indicating here with a potential nor'easter, something that comes off the coast. Probably a moderate snowfall if that were to actually happen. But European says, no, probably going to go to the south and east and never really phase together. Here's the GFS Ensemble centered on the grid point of Montpelier. This is the 0Z. And you can see multiple small systems. What happens, however, they add up over time. Total QPF, greater than 1 inch amounts, and some heftier amounts, of course, in the longer range. Looking at precipitable water, it kind of shows you that none of these are super juiced up. We're talking about 5/10 of an inch maximum, and a lot of differential outliers. You can see the spread here is kind of crazy, much beyond about 5 days out. And those later systems later in the week will show kind of a mix, and we were talking about that. Otherwise, we're looking at all snow for the first 3 systems. And I just thought I'd show you this. I wouldn't believe this, 10 inches of total snowfall. It's possible, but I think it's going to be generally less than that. We're probably talking more like 3 to 8, 4 to 8, something like that for total snowfall by, say, next weekend. Here's the Weather Prediction Center, next 160 hours of 7-day total forecast. The blue here is about 1 inch. That's about a ½ inch, so lighter amounts, a little bit more along the coastal areas, and that includes that system that we saw with the GFS coastal nor'easter there beyond the period. University of Maine Climate Reanalyzer is down, but I have weighted MOS temperatures, and so we're about neutral over the next 5 days, starting out of kind of climbing out of a hole of much colder conditions, and we make some inroads and do warm things up. So the trend is going a little bit above normal, weighted. This is 3 to 7 days out. And looking at snow extent anomaly, this is North America, so kind of a review of the winter. We started out with really dry and least amounts of snow up and through about November. Then things really did take off, and then kind of off and on, mostly in the west and across the northern parts of North America. And then we've kind of since then been settling in a little bit, just as the eastern side of North America has gotten colder, and we've seen more bouts of snow. Minus the big Buffalo snowfall, of course. And current conditions right here at about 10:50 this morning. You can see the current temperatures here, and a little bit of snow is trying to work on in and start to develop. And these are one last look at minimum temperatures this morning. You can see minus 25 in some locations, minus 20, minus 20, minus 18. And a lot of us saw temperatures anywhere from 5 to about 18 below zero. Pretty average. That's it from here, Roger Hill, Wuthering Heights. Thanks for watching.